what it is, what's happening. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, I'm doing some hillbilly redneck shit today. So, one of my people's truck failed inspection for no rear brakes, and as you can see, it's a high quality piece. So, I used a wrecker and I hang it off the back of the wrecker. I'm just going to throw some rear brakes on it. Yes, I know it's hillbilly. Dangerous? I don't know. It's hooked up as you would hook up any other car that you're going to tow. Because luckily the hydraulic truck acts like a crane as well. So anyway, I'm going to get into this simple little rear brake job. You want to follow along? I'll speed you up. You can check me out. The bottom spring fought me a little bit. If I had all the stuff laid out, but I had to keep walking back over there where I got everything laid out. So anyway, there's some rear brakes on her. I put all new hardware, all new springs, and wheel cylinder. I know a lot of guys struggle with rear brakes, so always remember, see how the shoe's a little shorter in the front? It's a little longer in the rear. Hogs on wheels. Always remember, short shoe to the front, long shoe to the rear. You'll end up with a real brake problem. I know a lot of guys struggle with rear brakes. You know, I'm not picking on the guy that wants to do stuff himself, but sometimes guys struggle with the rear drums. I mean, pretty much everything nowadays, unless it's a big truck, or bigger truck I should say, a lot of stuff's got disc brakes. I mean, this is kind of old school, but this thing's a 98, complete with spray foam. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I'm going to walk in and cut the drums. I'll bring you guys along while I cut the drums. Maybe somebody will find that interesting. I don't know. So sit tight. I'm going to bust out the other side and then carry the drums in and do that. Another thing I wanted to point out too, if you're watching, I just sped the film up because it's kind of a little boring to watch somebody put these rear brakes together. A little bit of brake grease. Very little. You don't got to go crazy. Always put some brake grease on the self-adjuster. Of course, if you're paying attention when I opened the bag up, everything went everywhere in the very beginning there. Always put, you know, you can put Never Seas, you could put wheel bearing grease, put something. Anything's better than nothing. I prefer to use Never Seas, but I actually ran out, so I just used a little bit of grease. But I always put something on these threads of these adjuster and the little spinny john that goes on the end. So that way the adjuster can spin easily. So if you got to adjust the brakes down the road for whatever reason, I mean, realistically, with all new stuff and the self-adjusters working, it should be fine. But there are that occasions where, you know, you might have to adjust them up, or who knows. But if you put some grease on, or if you keep the thing long enough that you got to do another rear set of brakes, you know, if you keep these greased, you won't have to worry about them failing down the road. And I always, when I do a rear brake job, Fords and Dodges love to use these things. Replace them. Because if that cable breaks, the self-adjuster don't work. And then sometimes what happens, I've seen this more than once, this little cable break and this piece here with the spring on it will float around in the drum and just tear everything all up. So always, for as cheap as this stuff is, just replace it. So this side's done. Like I said, wire brush everything, but look, like I said, I put a little bit of grease where your shoes meet the backing plate. That way you don't end up with the every time you hit the brakes. You know, you get that little squeak. So well, sit tight. I'm gonna do the other side, and then we'll walk in and we'll cut some drums. Be right back. So I got the rear brakes all together. Get ready to cut the drums. I kind of wanted to show what I use to put the springs on. This is a Snap-on 131A. That's the part number on it. I've had this thing probably for 30 years. Now, there are, as you can see, I use this to put them on, and I use this end to take the springs off of the anchor pin. Now there are other companies that make other stuff. I have a set here from Mac Tools. Actually, I have a whole set of some brake tools in here. But I'm going to point out why I prefer the snap-on one. I even have just a little one for putting springs on, and it has the same end. Let me see here. I'm going to set some stuff down. Has the same end. But here's why I like using this for putting them on. If you look closely, see how the end of that's made? You can see there, and trying to get it into view there. The other ones, these are the Mac ones, and I think this is a Lyle. If you look at the end of it, it just has a hole in the end of the shaft. And what'll happen is when you go to put the spring on, a lot of times it'll pop off because this is too fat. But see how this one's just made, got a little bit, two little Johns there. So this is why I prefer the snap-on. Guys can use whatever you want. I've seen guys use a pair of pliers and a screwdriver. But I've been using these for 30 years. And by far, and I'm not affiliated with Snap-on, trust me. I got a couple $100,000 in tools, and I don't own very many Snap-on tools because I think a lot of their stuff is overrated, but they do have some good stuff. And this one being one. This is another very good brake tool. If you guys ever do rear brakes on a F250, F350, F450, or maybe not, 450 I think was disc. Pretty much any Ford truck all the way back to the 60s got a crazy hold down spring instead of the kind that you would normally use the ones that look like nails in the spring. They use a different style. Let me tell you, you need that boy. I have used vice grips to put those style springs on, but that makes life a lot easier. So let's go over and cut some drums. Enough tool talk for right now. Let's go cut some drums. Let's pick up a drum and let's rock and roll. So this drum, I'm going to save it. Try to save my customers some money. We're just going to cut it. It's got a nasty rust lip on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and machine them up. Try to make them a little truer if we can. I'm going to bust out the fancy Amco brake lathe. So, yeah, what the hell. I was going to speed it up, but let's just go ahead and go normal. Sorry, my back gets in the way here a second. Trying to find a good spot here. I know somebody's going to comment that I did that wrong, but whatever. Put our silencer belt on. And I bet this thing will still scream anyway. I think this is a dying art. I don't know if anybody even does this anymore. We'll let that thing spin. I know there's going to be somebody saying, "Ah, you did it wrong. You can't do it that way." Whatever. I've been doing it this way 30 years. Do what works for you. Worry about you. All right, we're going to cut that thing and I'll be right back. Let's see what it looks like when I get done. As you can hear, I got another one spinning. I got a little bit on the outer edge, a little bit of chattering on the very edge, but it'll be all right. Yeah, a huge rust lip there. I tried to work it down, but kind of messed the bit up at the end, so yeah, it'll be all right. So cut the other one. I'll throw them bad boys on, adjust them up, bleed the brakes, and we're done. So maybe you guys got a little something out of that today. Maybe not. I don't know. But catch me on the next one. Holla at your boy. Keep it real.